All right, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to episode 3 of the Slide Job podcast. I am your host, Left Turn Central, and well, here we are. Make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new, and without further ado, let's get started. So, anyways, first order of business. Caleb is not here today. He might come in later. I'm actually sending him the link right now if he decides to come. He said his voice was not doing too hot, so I just want to do it without him this week. Hopefully, he will be able to do it in the future. Let me get the link in there in case he wants to join. All right, so this weekend has been kind of an interesting weekend. I missed the Xfinity race and I caught the tail end of the truck race, and both seemed. I have no clue about the Xfinity race, but the truck race was the shortest amount of trucks fielded in a race in the history of the sport, or at least the series. Um, but anyways, the truck series had 6 cars finish. Was it 6, 7? It was something like that. It was a very low amount, and like I said, the lowest in the history finish, and it was won by Austin Hill. Now, I have no clue whether he was deserving or not. At the end of the day, does the driver really deserve the win? Usually, win at restricted plates, no. So it's not like it's pretty new for that. Um, but it finished like this. Austin Hill obviously winning his first career Truck Series race in the 16 car. So we'll see if he is able to continue that. I would not put it against Austin Hill to actually be a pretty good driver. I think while I think Brett Moffitt should be in that ride, I'm not too against him. Austin Hill being in that ride. I think he could definitely very well fill uh, the whole. Maybe win another race. Who knows? Maybe compete in the playoffs. Who knows? And who knows how good the 16 equipment actually is? We'll definitely see. Anyway, second place went to Grant Enfinger. Ross Chastain and Spencer Boyd was third and fourth, and Matt Crafton in fifth. Now, Matt Crafton was actually in second on the final restart, and it looked like he was going to get his best career Super Speedway finish, which was fourth previous to the race. But then it turned out, I don't know if he ran out of gas, started sputtering or something, but he went back into fifth. Something happened. Sixth place, Josh Ramey, I don't know how to say his name, 44. Timothy Peters in seventh, Angelo Rach in eighth, Austin Wayne South in ninth, and Stuart Friesen 52nd. Now, the last two I mentioned wrecked out, so only 8 cars, or trucks in this case, finished the race. That is pretty crazy. A couple of notables in the back, Natalie Decker, she wrecked out the first lap. Hopefully that is not I don't know how well she's gonna do. I don't think she's going to do well, but hopefully I do hope for her to do well. And hopefully that is not a predecessor for her career or foreshadowing of her career, to be a little bit more specific. Jordan Anderson, I don't think he's that good. Johnny Sauter in the 13 car, he finished 23rd. Matt Snyder in the 27 finished 21st. Harrison Burton in the 18 finished 18th. Todd Gill in the 4 car finished 19th. I'm trying to find where what's his name finished. Brett Moffitt there in the 24 finished in 26th place. But once again, it is a restrictor plate, so there isn't really too much to go off of for this season. I mean, Austin Hill won the race. I don't think any of us really expect him, but I have some hopes for him in that 16 car. Anyways, in the Daytona or the NASCAR Racing Experience 300, so NASCAR basically sponsored themselves for a Daytona race. It's actually kind of interesting to think that they weren't able to get a sponsor in there for really the biggest race of the year in the Xfinity Series. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Is the Daytona race really the biggest race in Xfinity and trucks? I don't know. You have to. I think it just depends upon who you ask. But anyways, Michael Annett won that race, getting his first career win. I don't know. Shout out to him winning a race is great, but I don't know really how. I don't see him really continuing that winning streak. Second place goes to his teammate Justin Allgaier. Brandon Jones got third. Ryan Sieg in fourth. Austin Cindric fifth. Christopher Bell sixth. Jeff Green seventh. John Hunter Nemechek eighth, driving the 23 Chevrolet. Tyler Reddick in ninth. Chase Elliott finishing 10th. Noah Gragson just outside the top 10 in 11th. Again, I did not watch the race, so I am not sure how Noah Gragson did throughout the race. Ross Chastain driving the 10 car. I actually did not hear about him driving the 10 car. What is the team? Is my question. I'm not sure which team it is. JD Motorsports, actually. Yeah, JD Motorsports. I knew that. Jeffrey Earnhardt in the 18. He actually started second and finished 15th. Likelihood is that he probably wrecked, but I can't guarantee that. Justin Haley, he finished 17th in the 11 car. I forgot he went there. A lot of moves that I forget about. Now I'm remembering them looking through the finishing. Brad Keselowski finished 37th. I'm assuming he wrecked out as well. Oh, he definitely wrecked out. But that's really it for the results. So Michael Annett and Austin Hill, two, I think we can agree, at least in the case of Michael Annett, not deserving drivers. So not really much we can take away from the first week in either of those. And I feel like the Daytona 500 will be the same way. Now, I'm not going to get in that right now. So let's go ahead. Let's preview the Monster Energy's Cup Series. Why did I decide to say it? I just decided to. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm kind of sick too, so I think it's kind of going around the school, I guess. So here is, I'm trying to find. There we go. So we got the lineup for this race. Obviously, William Byron's starting the pole. That's been the biggest thing. Do I expect him to win? No. But he definitely could make some noise. He pretty much every time you have a driver like William Byron and Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman, they always usually lead a couple laps and just kind of fade away. Hopefully he can do something. Alex Bowman, he is a real threat to win this race and win a race this year. And once again, I want to get into my season predictions later in the episode, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, Alex Bowman is definitely a great driver that could win a race this year. Kevin Harvick, he's in third. Joey Logano fourth. They were the dual winners, so shout out to them. The Ford actually really on a roll here as Ricky Stenhouse in fifth, Clint Boyer sixth, Paul Menard seventh, and Eric Almirola in eighth. And that basically just proves that they did not lose anything in the terms of super speedways. After that, Matthew Benedetto ninth, as he really made a really nice move at the end. I believe it was the second duel. No, it was the first duel because I didn't see the end of the second duel. It was the end of the first duel. He made a really nice move to the inside and was able to get that ninth position. So shout out to him. Hopefully he does well. And don't be surprised if he wins. If he wins, I'm not going to be surprised. Am I going to pick him? No. But is he a possible dark horse to win? Definitely. Don't count out Matthew Benedetto at a super speedway. He led laps in that 32 car on strategy, but he still did really well and had a shot to win the Daytona 500 last year until I believe he got wrecked in the Denny Hamlin wreck, if I'm not mistaken. Speeding to Hamlin, he starts in the 10th position. Martin Truex Jr. starts 11th. Kurt Busch 12th. Bubba Wallace 13th, Ryan Blaney 14th, Chris Buescher 15th, Jamie Murray 16th, Jimmy Johnson 17th, Chase Elliott 18th. I find it kind of interesting how they have William Byron and Alex Bowman starting 1-2, and then Jimmy Johnson and Chase Elliott both are starting next to each other as well. Ryan Newman 19th, Austin Dillon 3rd, Ryan Preece 21st or 3rd, Austin Dillon 20th in the 3. Ty Dillon 22nd, Daniel Suarez 23rd. David Reagan 24th, Parker Kligerman 25th, Kyle Larson 42nd, Daniel Hemrick 29th, Kyle Busch 31st. We'll see if he's able to get his way to the front. We all know he will. And then just a bunch of not really 40. Casey Mears starting 40th. Shout out to him for making it. Holy. Sorry about that. So that is the starting grid for the Daytona 500. Really, my only takeaway from that is that Ford's fast in Super Speedway qualifying, or sorry, not qualifying. They are fast in the duel, so they do have the speed in racing situations in Super Speedway. How that will translate to intermediate tracks is still yet to be seen. But like I said, it's still yet to be seen. We'll see it when we get there. And I think someone who's shown a lot of speed all weekend is Paul Menard. He very likely would have won that race or finished top 3 had he not, been wrecked by Jimmy Johnson. And I'm not going to get into all the, Jimmy Johnson, he's lost all his talent and all of that. I'm not going to get into that. But Paul Menard is a driver who really seems like he has a lot of speed this weekend. Now, that doesn't necessarily always mean the fastest driver at Talladega or Daytona doesn't always mean they're going to win. Usually, it doesn't mean usually means you won't win. Usually, it seems like whoever's in the front at the beginning is in the back by the end. It's how super speedway races usually seem to go, which again is not a bad thing by any means, but that's one thing. If you're betting on Paul Menard, I mean, I'm going to put him on my he's on my fantasy team. But that's just because I'm probably not going to use him really anywhere else, and especially considering he has showed a lot of speed in both the duels and the Can-Am duel, or not the Can-Am duels. That's the Budweiser shootout. We'll just call it that, since I can't think of the word right now. But since he's shown speed, I think he's a safe pick for fantasy. And don't be surprised if he does win a stage or win the race. That definitely is not out of the question. He's had a fast car all weekend, and it'd be nice to see Paul Menard win that 21. And one thing that I think has really gone under the radar is the fact that he has been really fast in that 21. He hasn't been Blaney fast. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't won a race. He hasn't really been a top 10 driver every week. He's been a top 10 driver, but not as consistently as Blaney. But he's outperforming he's doing way better than he was in the 27, and he's doing well. I mean, a lot of people say the only reason he's in NASCAR is because he has a sponsor, and that may be true, but he definitely has talent. While yes, it's nice to have a sponsor to get there, you do need to have some talent, and Paul Menard in this 21 car has proved that he has talent, and hopefully it works out for him. I hope he is able to get a win this year, and I am definitely rooting for him at the end of the race. But obviously, I'm rooting for Chase and all those guys, but Paul Menard, if he wins, I'm definitely not going to be disappointed at all. Anyways, as for the top 2, like I said, William Byron and Alex Bowman. I feel like Alex Bowman is a threat to win this race. I think he could definitely. He's one that can at the end make the move. But if he's going up against drivers like Jimmy Johnson or experienced plate drivers. I don't know if Jimmy Johnson really is the best example right now, but if he's going up against like Kevin Harvick, Paul Menard, Eric Almirola, all those guys who have experience at tracks like this, I don't know how well his experience is. He's definitely a great plate driver, but there is a difference between being experienced and not being. It does show at super speedway tracks. So hopefully he is able to get the win, and I would really like it for Alex Bowman. I think he's going to win more races than a lot of people peg him to, if they even peg him to win a race. Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano, I think they are really they have showed speed throughout the weekend as well. Actually, Harvick wasn't really that fast in the Budweiser shootout, but Joey Logano was up there with Paul Menard, so definitely had a fast car. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's always good at these tracks. Clint Boyer, he was really fast. He was leading, I believe, for most of that. Yeah, he was leading for most of the second duel, and I'm not surprised Joey Logano winning. I did not see what happened. Eric Almirola, he is hungry. That's one thing. If like I said earlier, if Alex Bowman's in the lead and Eric Almirola is behind him, Eric Almirola is hungry. He is going to be aggressive, trying to get that win at Daytona like he was unable to. I don't think he would do Alex Bowman like Austin Dillon did to him, but I do think he's going to be really aggressive for that lead, and maybe just really aggressive in general. Now, Matthew Benedetto, I don't think he's ever been started inside the top 10, let alone really not had to work from behind. He always is. He's used to at these tracks having to start all the way back in like 20th and maybe definitely farther back. Now he's in ninth with better equipment, and he definitely could win this race. I hope he does. I'm really rooting for him, and I think he's another one on fantasy. If you're not looking to use up all of your drivers at once, Matt DiBenedetto is a guy you can put in there, and he will at least get you a great finish. Um, and I hope the best for him. Denny Hamlin, I honestly don't know what to tell you at this point about Denny Hamlin. Martin Truex Jr., same with him. Uh, Kurt Busch, I'm not really. There's not really too many people left to talk about. Bubba Wallace, this is his chance to win a race if there is any until he gets out of RPM. Jamie McMurray, this will be his final race of his NASCAR career, as far as we know, and this is definitely a race that he can win. He's won before, and I would not be surprised if he wins it again. So it seems like there was questions if the 40 was just going to be junk equipment that put him at the back, but it seems like he will be able to keep up with the other cars, and I'm glad that he is. We'll see what he can do, and I hope the best for him. Jimmy Johnson and Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott, he's a great super speedway driver. Jimmy Johnson's something's up, so hopefully he doesn't wreck the entire field. And let's move on. So really not really much else to talk about. Larson's in the back. Kyle Busch, we have to see if he's going to be able. Wouldn't doubt if he won the race. I think we can almost guarantee we'll see him at the front at some point without him assuming he doesn't get wrecked. And also Brad Keselowski is starting 35th, so it has not been a good week for Brad Keselowski so far. But so now we are done with all the previews and stuff. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I got a pretty bad cough here. Now we're done with all of that. Real quick, my pick to win the race is Joey Logano, but my dark horse pick is going to have to be Paul Menard. Now, the reason I picked Joey Logano is because he's coming off a Roll-On-O championship, and he is looking to repeat. He's looking to show that he's not just a fluke, and winning the first race of the season is always a great way to do that. So I think he is going to get the win. But Paul Menard is my dark horse pick just because I don't feel safe putting him as my for sure pick because it's Paul Menard. He's in the 21, but definitely don't be surprised if he wins the race. And I think he's more of a dark horse pick at really not just super speedway tracks, at any other track. When he shows speed, he has the talent. I really think he's a driver. If he has the talent, he could definitely drive a car to a couple wins. If he were like maybe in a Penske car or something, which will never happen. But yeah. Anyways, now we have gone off of the predictions for the Daytona 500. Now we're going to start predicting for the upcoming season. Now, if Caleb were to be here, this is kind of the one I wanted. He really needed to be here, but it's fine. Maybe we can catch up in a later episode. But what we're going to be talking about now is the predictions for the season. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to go through last year's point standings and make predictions for all of the playoff drivers and then notable drivers outside of the playoffs. So this should take a little bit, and then after this, I'm probably going to be done unless somebody joins and we have a conversation. So let me pull up the standings real quick. I'm actually going to blow my nose real quick, so I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. Apologize for that. So first things first is Joey Logano. Now, my prediction is championship contender, probably about the same 3 wins as he had last year. and don't be surprised if he wins the championship. Now, first thing, that being said, if it were to be a championship system that rewarded consistency, I don't think it would be him. I think he's going to have downswings. I think all Ford drivers are going to have downswings throughout the season trying to figure out the new Ford Mustang. Now, one thing I want to talk about, and I don't think I really mentioned this as much as I kind of wanted to, last episode in my whatchamacallit, where we talked about the new package. But one thing I think we need to point out is that with this new package, it's going to open up more opportunities for drivers like Kyle Larson, who had 0 wins last year, Ryan Blaney, who only had 1, and drivers who were up there last year but just didn't have that extra oomph to get past Kevin Harvick. And it was Kevin Harvick. He was the one that was stopping them from getting their wins. Well, now they have that ability to get up to him. And if you're joking yourself if you think that they will not be aggressive and have the talent to pass Kevin Harvick. Because I don't want to, no knock on Kevin Harvick. He has a lot of talent, but I think Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson there at the beginning of the season were really just as talented as him. They just didn't have that extra oomph to get past. And I know that I just said that Ford is going to be kind of slower this year, but and Ryan Blaney is obviously a Ford, but I think with this new aero package, it's going to open up more chances. You won't see Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch get 8 wins this year. I can guarantee that, because it's going to be more spread of wins. We'll probably see 2 or 3 new winners, and I'll get into that sooner or later in the video, not sooner. We'll probably see a couple first-time winners. We'll see winners that don't win, that maybe have won 1 or 2 races, but will win more. We'll see more of those guys win and stuff like that, because it's going to be more based on your passing talent and your ability to keep the lead, hold the lead, and it's not as much as who has the better engine. And I think we are kind of on the extreme side of that, and I think that is somewhat of a problem. We're not worried about how you can drive the track. We're really just worrying about who can pass, but it still involves skill. And I saw a quote by Austin Dillon. Of course, Austin Dillon is one of the beneficiaries of this, and one of the people I think will be winning this season. But he said that it still involves skill, and it does. If you're in a pack like 5 to 20, and you're in 20th, and you're able to get all the way up to 5th, that takes skill. You can't tell me that doesn't take skill. And if he is able to do that, or somebody is able to do that, that takes skill. And you can't say, I could not do that. As Kyle Busch said, the press could not do that. That is a driver who has the skill to make the pass, can maintain the speed, and yes, it is going to still take the ability to get through the track fast. Now, I think we do need a little bit more of a realistic car that does warrant that if you have a faster car, then it should hold some merit. But if we're really trying to get the best driver to win the championship, shouldn't we level the playing field? Shouldn't it be based on the driver's skill? I mean, if a driver can't turn left, he shouldn't be in NASCAR. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we are doing. We are turning left. But driving at 180, 200 at some tracks, somewhere between that 150 and 200 to 19 at Michigan, that takes skill. I can't do that. The press can't do that. And I know I'm going off topic here, but that was something I kind of wanted to talk about last episode. And I realized I kind of went on a Radman rant. I don't know why I did, because I actually like the guy, but that's the thing. A lot of people, and there were quotes, and that's why I kind of brought this up. There are people out there that think it's just NASCAR take no skill anymore, and that's just not true. To pass somebody at 180 miles per hour, I mean, heck, I was driving today, and trying to pass on the interstate 2 cars, that takes a little bit of skill, like, going left and then going right. that takes a little bit of skill, and I can't imagine going 180 miles per hour and trying to do it. But that's it for my rant right there. Um, let's get back on topic here. Joey Logano, I think he'll get 2 or 3 wins, and will once again be a championship contender. Martin Truex Jr., he actually finished second in the standings. I did not know that. He had 4 wins last year and 20 top fives. I see him having about the same because that Joe Gibbs. If he's at furniture, I might have given him a little bit less. But Kevin Harvick, he finished third. I see him getting about 4. Like I said, we're not going to see an 8-win season. I can almost guarantee that. Same with Kyle Busch, 4 or 5. I think Harvick and Truex, we might see a little bit of regression. That's why I said Busch 4 or 5. Eric Almirola, 2 or 3. I think he really has an opportunity this season with Stewart Haas and the new package to win a couple races, not just at Talladega and Daytona. And hopefully he's able to do that. He had speed at, I believe it was New Hampshire, and a couple races at the beginning of the season. So look for him to keep that up. Chase Elliott, he had 3 wins last season. Hopefully he's able to have a full season this year. And I see him winning 3 or 4, about the same as Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. Kurt Busch, actually, in the one car, I honestly see him winning a race or 2. I don't see him, going crazy. This is possibly the last year he will ever drive full time. So I hope he does end up getting that win, and you know what, maybe winning a championship. Just kidding. Also, Chase Elliott and Eric Almirola are both championship contenders. Brad Keselowski in the 2 Penske Ford. He's definitely a championship contender, but he really just had that 3-race stretch, and he was still good in like other races, but that was his time, and he just really fell off after that. He wasn't able to maintain the momentum and make it to the final 4. And I think if he did, he definitely had a chance to go ahead and win the championship. But that is neither here nor there because he did not make it this year. I see him winning 2 races, maybe 3. And it's really obviously competing for a championship once again. And speaking of competing for championships, Kyle Larson. Now, he had 0 wins last year. I see that definitely not being. I see him being hungry for wins, being aggressive for wins. I see him winning 4 races. I'm going to be completely honest. That's what I kind of saw from him last year, and that's what I see from him this year. And one thing, I think Chip Ganassi is really just a notch below all those other cars. Well, that package really evened that out. So now we're going to see Kyle Larson. He has as much talent as Harvick and all of those guys. It's just a matter of having the car to be able to pass, to hold the lead and get the lead and hold it. So hopefully we don't see any mechanical issues, and he should definitely win 3 or 4 races this season. Ryan Blaney, he's another young gun that is looking to win a couple races here and there. I'd say probably 2, maybe 3. He definitely has a lot of talent, but I think he's still just like if he competes for a championship, okay, he's made the jump, but I think he's still a couple years from making the jump from a playoff contender to a championship contender. But who am I to judge? But also Kyle Larson is definitely a championship contender. Denny Hamlin, like I said earlier, I think he'll win a race this year, but it's hard telling from him anymore. And then after that, Clint Boyer, he finished 12th. I don't know. I see him winning a race or 2, but really about the same as last year, kind of just inconsistent. One race on a high and the other race on a low, and not really a championship contender, but he could be. Don't get me wrong. Austin Dillon. Now, Austin Dillon, he's one of those guys I mentioned earlier that, only won 2 races in his career, but could win a race because of the opportunity given by the new package. Hopefully, I think he has a lot more talent than people give him credit for. So hopefully he's able to prove that and maybe win a race or 2 not on fuel strategy and not because he dumped Eric Almirola. Hopefully he's able to prove himself in that aspect. Jimmy Johnson, it's looking like an off year, and I'm sorry, Case No 4, if you are watching. I don't think he's making the playoffs with this start. Now, hold me accountable if I'm wrong. Please do. I hope he makes the playoffs. I hope he wins the 8th championship. I don't think it's going to happen. Hopefully he does, but I don't think it's going to happen. That's just, especially just the start has really kind of propelled that. Maybe I'm just crazy. Well, I am, but hopefully Johnson's able to make it, but I don't think he is. Eric Jones, I think he's going to win a race or two. He seems to have a lot of talent. Last year's only win was at Daytona, so hopefully he's able to win at other tracks. But definitely a playoff contender, but I don't see him being a championship contender. Now, Alex Bowman here, the 88 Chevrolet, I see him getting his first career win and maybe even another one. Again, he's just a playoff contender, and I think he's kind of like Ryan Blaney, where he's probably farther, despite being older, is probably a little bit farther away from being a championship contender. But he like if he takes a step, okay, he's made that step, he's there. But right now, I think he's still a couple years away from taking that leap to championship contention. I think he's really going to show when a lot of the older drivers leave the sport. Ryan Newman driving the 6 car. Don't think he'll win a race. Well, okay. With this new package, again, if he gets in the lead, he's going to hold you down hard. So if he wins a race, I don't think anybody would be surprised because he probably blocked the living shit out of him. So yeah. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's won. He's really good restrictor plate driver. If you think about it, these are kind of like restrictor plates. Draft is going to be pretty good, and draft's going to be pretty key, and he's pretty good at track where drafting is pretty key. So don't want to imply it, but he could very well go out there and break out and win a couple of races. So I see him winning a race this year. I think he's going to, if he doesn't win at an intermediate, then he'll probably win at Talladega, Daytona. But who knows? Paul Menard, I've kind of spoken on him. I think he's a driver that if he gets in the front, I think, he's only got one career win. I think he could add 1 or 2 to that by the end of his career, especially with this package. So hopefully he's able to do that. Daniel Suarez in the 41 this year, I think he's going to have a slow start. I'm going to be honest. I think he's kind of adjusting to a new team, and that's fair. I think he'll have a slow start, and then about the halfway mark, especially with the new Ford Mustang, I think we'll see him break out, win a race or two, and maybe, like I've said earlier with Blaney and Bowman, take the leap to being I think in this case he's really just taking the leap to be a playoff contender. But who am I to know? To just say that. AJ Allmendinger isn't racing. William Byron, I don't think he's going to win a race. I think he's still got a year or two before that, and hopefully he can prove me wrong. But I don't think he will. I think we can pretty well agree that he still has a lot to learn, a lot to develop, and hopefully he is able to do that. And Bubba Wallace, still at the 43 car. I'm sure you'll see improved results with the suit package, but nothing crazy. Matty Benedetto now at the 95. He will definitely see improved results. I see him as being a consistent top 20 driver, top 15 driver, going out there getting quite a few top 10s as well every once in a while. And it looks like he could be definitely a Daytona 500 winner, and hopefully he does. I think we definitely could see him win a Super Speedway race. I think he's a dark horse pretty well everywhere he goes now. And that is really it for everybody who's raced. I've already really talked about all of the rookies this year, so I don't think I really need to talk about them. No one really special, no special rookies, so it's not like we really, need to go into detail. And yeah, that really does sum them all up. So that's really all I got. Don't think there's anybody talking in the chat. So if you guys are watching this after, thank you for watching. And that's really all I got. Next week, episode 3 will be a Daytona 500 review of the truck and Xfinity races, and a preview of Atlanta. And I think that really will be it. We might find something else to talk about. But I hope you guys enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you're new. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.